Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? This one is, well, it's a little creepy to be honest, kind of hits close to home.
Yeah.
We're talking smart devices,
Mm-hmm.
but not like the cool new gadgets and features and all that.
Right.
We're going a little darker.
Yeah, the other side of the coin.
Exactly. This all started with an episode of the Alternative World podcast. They went deep on the downsides of all this smart tech, like stuff we don't even realize we're signing up for.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the convenience, right?
No,
Like, who doesn't love having everything at their fingertips? But the thing is, are we really in control, or are these devices kind of subtly shaping our choices? They even compared it to Black Mirror, which honestly is a bit unnerving.
oh yeah, that's never a good sign, right?
Not really.
Okay, so let's back up a bit. The podcast started with like just how much data our devices are collecting, and it's honestly mind-blowing.
It is. I mean, think about it. Location tracking, browsing history, what you buy, even like how long you look at something on your screen. They're gathering all this information about us all the time.
Yeah, and it's not just like one device, right? It's our phones, our smart speakers, our wearables, everything is collecting data. I mean, they even mentioned how some devices can track like how long you're looking at something on your screen, which I guess could be useful, like for knowing when to take a break or something. But so kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's like on the surface, it's like, oh, that's helpful. But then you think about all that data being collected, and well, it gets a bit unsettling.
It does. And those seemingly harmless bits of information,
Yeah.
they become they become powerful when you put them all together,
Yeah.
like across millions of users.
Exactly. It's like they can build this whole detailed profile of your life, your preferences, your vulnerabilities, just from all those little data points.
Yeah. And they had some really creepy examples in the podcast,
Mm.
like smart speakers,
Hmm.
which are always listening, even when you think they're off.
Yeah.
Picking up conversations, background noise, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
I mean, do we really want all that recorded?
Dick, a good question. I mean, it really makes you think about where the line is between convenience and intrusion, doesn't it?
Totally. And then there's wearables, which can be awesome for, tracking your health and fitness.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But they're also collecting a ton of biometric data, heart rate, sleep patterns, even blood oxygen levels. Like, it's kind of unsettling to think about where all that data goes.
Yeah, who has access to it, how it's being used? It's a valid concern.
Definitely. So we've got all this data being collected, but it doesn't stop there. Alternative World dug into how algorithms use all that data to actually shape our experiences. And that's where things get really interesting and maybe a little scary.
Yeah, because algorithms, it's kind of a buzzword, right? So let's break it down a little bit. Basically, think of an algorithm like a set of instructions that tells your device what to do with all that data it's collecting. It's like a recipe, but instead of baking a cake, it's deciding what you see on your social media feed, what ads you're shown, even what search results pop up. And these algorithms are often designed to maximize engagement, which isn't always what's best for us.
Right. And the podcast used social media as a prime example. They were saying that algorithms prioritize content that triggers strong emotions like anger, outrage, even fear, because that's what keeps us scrolling and clicking and engaging.
Exactly. And the more we engage, the more data they collect and the better those algorithms get at keeping us hooked.
It's like this vicious cycle, right?
Yeah, a feedback loop where we're just constantly bombarded with stuff that gets us riled up, and it can, it can really warp our perception of reality.
It's like that echo chamber effect, right?
Exactly. Have you ever noticed how, your social media feed seems to be getting more and more intense? Maybe it's not just you, maybe it's the algorithm at work.
It's a good point. I've definitely felt like I'm seeing more extreme content lately. It's actually kind of alarming, but it's not just about the news and opinions we're seeing, right? The podcast also talked about how algorithms can influence, our buying decisions.
Oh, absolutely. Think about smart assistants, for example. You ask it to order something, and it might suggest a certain brand or product, not because it's the best option for you, but because of some partnership or financial incentive they have.
So we're being nudged in a certain direction, and we don't even realize it.
It's possible. I mean, it's not always malicious, but it's something to be aware of.
It's like we're trading convenience for control, and I'm not sure we're always getting the better end of that deal.
It's a trade-off, that's for sure. And it raises some important questions about the balance between convenience and, our own autonomy.
Totally. On the one hand, These devices, they simplify our lives, they connect us with the world, they can even improve our health.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we're giving up a lot of our privacy and our autonomy in the process.
And that brings us back to the question alternative world posed, right?
Yeah, like at what point does convenience become too costly? Where do we draw the line?
It's a question we all need to grapple with as these technologies become more and more integrated into our lives.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And this is where those Black Mirror comparisons start to feel, well, a little too real.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That show, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
exaggerated,
Yeah.
futuristic scenarios,
Yeah.
but the themes, loss of privacy, manipulation, control, it all feels very relevant to what we're talking about.
Totally. I mean, remember that episode where like everyone's social status is based on a rating system, like how they interact with
Oh,
others?
yeah.
It's not so far-fetched to think that could actually happen with all the data they're collecting about us.
Yeah, imagine like your access to opportunities, services, even relationships, all determined by some algorithm. It's kind of scary.
Or that one where people can record and replay their memories. It really makes you think about, what is memory, what is privacy, and the potential for abuse is huge. Someone could access your memories, alter them, use them against you. It's pretty disturbing.
It is. It's definitely thought-provoking, but I gotta say, it's a little unsettling. But hey, alternative world wasn't all doom and gloom, right?
Right.
They did offer some practical advice, things we can do to like mitigate the risks and take back some control.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, awareness is key. The more we understand about these devices, the data they collect, how the algorithms work, the better equipped we are to make informed choices.
So like reading those privacy policies, even though they're super long and boring.
Yeah, even though they are like written in the most confusing language possible, they do tell you what data is being collected and how it's being used.
Right.
So it's important to at least try to understand what we're agreeing to.
Yeah. The podcast also talked about supporting companies that prioritize data privacy and transparency. Is that actually a thing?
It is, and it's a powerful way to, vote with your wallet, so to speak. Choosing products and services from companies that have ethical data practices can actually incentivize the whole industry to move in a more responsible direction.
Okay, so being mindful of which companies we support, that's a good one. What else?
Well, being more mindful of our tech habits in general, it's easy to get caught in that cycle of checking our phones constantly, scrolling through social media, relying on our devices for everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it can lead to this kind of like digital dependency. We're less present, less engaged with the world around us.
Yeah, and probably more susceptible to all those manipulation tactics we've been talking about.
Mhm.
It's hard to think critically when you're constantly being bombarded with notifications and personalized content.
Exactly. So it's about finding that balance. Do we all need to ditch our smartphones and go live off the grid? Probably not.
Probably not, no.
But it's about finding a way to enjoy the benefits of technology without letting it, run our lives and erode our autonomy.
Right. Being intentional, setting boundaries,
Yeah.
remembering that, we're the ones in control.
Exactly. It's about being mindful, informed, and empowered.
And maybe watching a few episodes of Black Mirror as a reminder of what we don't want.
Uh-huh. That's one way to stay vigilant.
But seriously, it's a
Yeah.
lot to consider. But I do feel like I have a better understanding now of what's at stake.
And that's the first step towards making more conscious choices.
Right. And hopefully avoiding those dystopian Black Mirror scenarios in real life. But what about like the bigger picture? Is there anything we can do collectively to address these issues?
Absolutely. It's not just about individual choices. It's about societal values and the kind of future we want to create.
So we need to be having these conversations, raising awareness, advocating for change.
Exactly. Talk about it with friends, family, especially with kids who are growing up surrounded by all this tech.
Yeah, it's important for them to have the critical thinking skills to navigate this stuff, make informed choices.
And we need to push for policies that protect our privacy, make sure technology is being developed and used ethically,
Yeah.
responsibly.
Right. We need to be the ones shaping technology,
Yeah.
not the other way around. But how do we even start? I mean, it's a huge issue. Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming, isn't it? Like, where do we even begin?
I know, right? It's a massive challenge. But I think it starts with recognizing that technology isn't neutral.
Hmm.
It's shaped by the people who create it, the companies who profit from it, and, well, us, the people who use it.
So we need to be more critical of the tech we're using, more intentional about how we use it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to start asking questions like, who benefits from this? What are the potential downsides? And are there other ways to achieve the same thing without giving up our privacy?
It's like we need a whole new way of thinking about technology, not just, oh, this is cool, it's convenient, but also considering the ethical side of things.
Exactly. We need to move beyond that move fast and break things mindset.
Yeah, it's got to be about being more mindful, deliberate, and responsible,
Hmm.
in our relationship with the technology.
And we need to demand that same responsibility from the companies, the institutions, the people developing and using this technology.
So I guess the takeaway here is that we can't just sit back and let things happen. To
Yeah.
be active, we got to speak up and, well, help shape the future of technology. Make sure it aligns with our values.
We've talked about the potential dark side of smart devices, all that data they're collecting, the way algorithms can influence our choices, and, well, the potential for things to get a little dystopian, like Black Mirror style.
It's been a fascinating deep dive. A little unsettling, honestly,
Yeah.
but I feel more aware now.
And that's a good thing. Awareness is the first step.
Right. Now, I got to ask one last question. We could start over, design these smart devices from scratch, but this time, ethics are the priority. What would that even look like?
That is a great question. It really makes you think about what could be. Imagine devices that empower us, give us information, give us control, devices that bring people together instead of dividing them, technology that truly makes our lives better, but without all the downsides.
Now, that's a future I can get behind. And maybe, just maybe, if we're all a little more mindful, proactive, engaged, well, maybe we can make it happen.
It's a challenge worth fighting for.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll be back soon with more explorations into the world around us. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and, well, stay engaged.